It's going to be a narrow based bowl, so I'm keeping the throwing quite tall and keeping the base quite narrow to begin with. Causes less of a problem later when we're trying to throw into it and get under the clay. It's also, I'm going to turn quite a deep foot ring on it, hopefully. And the problem we've got there is if you leave a lot of clay, there's about inch of clay at the bottom there, you can get a spiral crack in it, an S-shaped crack in the bottom of it because we've not compressed it, so just need to work on it with a rubber kidney. We can avoid that problem. Should do it. He says, hopefully. What I try and do as well is when I'm throwing a largish bowl, is when I'm pulling up, I try and leave a thicker piece of clay here at the top, compress it a little, because as it comes out wider it gets narrower. What people who beginners do is they tend to start thick at the bottom and get thinner and thinner as the clay slips between their fingers, and you end up with a very mean top, and then when you pull it out they lose control of it. So what we try and do now is lift up this clay from the bottom into the body of the clay. You see it pulling up there. Ease off and just leave the rim fairly thick. Try it again, just hold a sponge in my hand for this one. Each time I'm going to pull up, I push a little bit narrower in on the base because I want a narrow base to it. Grab hold of the clay underneath and just pull it up, and then as we get 2/3 of the way up, just ease off the pressure and let it slip through your fingers more or less and leave a thicker rim. That rim's about just over a centimetre. The wall just underneath it is just less than a centimetre, so that's going just as I want it for now. You can hear a sort of repeat noise in the background. It's my daughter. She's on a trampoline outside. You can hear her bouncing. It's not your ears, and it's not my camera. It's Calysta. She spends hours on that trampoline. She's actually in her pyjamas now. It's nearly bedtime. She can't resist going out and having another bounce before bed. Right, same again, lift the clay up and then just let it slip through your fingers more or less. Ease off the pressure. Still leaving that rim a little bit thicker. I'll start to concentrate on the inside of it now. Still got a little tiny bit to pull up from the base, I can feel that, there you go. And now we start to pull it out to the shape I want it. Press the inside of the base again. I'm trying to get quite a thin bowl here. I know a lot of people throw bowls and get the inside right and then turn away the outside to quite a thin bowl. You have to do that with porcelain obviously because it's you have to throw it quite thick, but I think it's a bit of a cheat. So I try and get it as thin as possible. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. use the rib again. This is a rubber rib. It's a bit more forgiving than a metal rib or a wooden rib. You can bend it inside with your fingers. You can bend it like that. Get the contour right on the inside. You see now that rim that was quite thick earlier has thinned out quite considerably. If I'd have made it that thin up here, it would have been just wafer thin now and flapping all over the place. I hope this is instructive to people, or whether I'm just preaching to the converted already. You already know this. I'm sorry if it's boring you, but I do get asked quite a lot of questions about what I'm doing, and you can always turn the volume down. Might bore you. It's quite good. I'll show you the inside now. So the rim of that's quite thin now. Okay. Make sure you're still in. Oops. In focus. There we go. I'm just going to turn away with the metal tool. I think if you use a metal tool, it cuts the clay away, and I want to cut the clay away at the bottom there to make it a bit narrower. If you just wanted to just lift the clay a little bit, a wooden tool tends to lift the clay up and leave quite a bit there. I was happy enough to slice a bit of the clay away there. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, that's it. Just need a pot board. Be able to lift this one off. I sometimes throw on a bat if the base is wide, but as the base here is quite thick at the bottom, because I'm going to turn a deep foot ring in it, it will just slide off like that. Hopefully. There we go. To the pot board, see the profile. Hope you can see the profile.